This is question C through H for your moving straight ahead unit test. They wanted you to write equations based off the information they gave you about the movie deals for members and non-members. So for members, you have to remember, in order to write an equation, you need the form y equals mx plus b. And you could have used the form they asked you to use, which was c equals mn plus b. But either way, it's the same idea. As long as if you have the concept of how to write an equation, you're good. So you could have y equals, and then whatever your rate of change was. Your rate of change was the amount it costs per movie. So your rate of change per movie. And then you'd have your b, which is your starting point or your y-intercept. So you can either refer back to your table, your y-intercept, your starting point, or look at your members' information. You start off with $75 a year. So your starting point would be 75. Now you can use the same information to write your equation for your non-members. Be careful though. Your y-intercept, your starting point. Make sure you're very clear on what that is. What is the slope of each line in part C? This is part C. So the slope of the line is your value for m, because your constant rate of change is your slope. And you can find the slope for each equation by finding your value for m for the equations. What information is the slope of each line represented by the membership and non-membership fee? Well, if we look at the equation for members, it's y equals 2x plus 75. The 2 is your slope. And if we refer back to the information, what it says, it's saying that the 2 is $2 per movie. So that's what your slope is in relation to the story. For F, explain how you could find the slope from a table, graph, and equation. From a table, there are a couple ways you can do it, but one of the easier ways is to find the change in y divided by the change in x, or you could find the constant rate of change in some way or another. With a graph, the slope is when you find the rise and run between 2 points. And the equation, as I referred to earlier, you just look for your m value in your equation. And that's your slope, and you're all good. For G, what information does the y-intercept of each line represent about the membership and non-membership costs? Well, what was the starting point for the membership? What was the starting point for the non-membership? What does that tell you? What does that represent in the story problem? And for H, for what number of movies will the cost be the same for both members and non-members? You could use your table after you fill it out to figure out when the costs are the same, how many movies that was, and that could be your explanation. Or you can actually use equations. In order to do that, you're going to need to set equations equal to each other. So your two equations is going to be, because you have y equals 2x plus 75, I believe. And you're going to set that equal to your other equation. So you have 2x plus 75 equal to what your other equation was. And then from there, you'd solve for x. And that's one way you could find when the costs for both movies are the same for members and non-members.